Hello, I'm Anna and I'm here to do my August wrap-up. On August I read a total of 8 books, I think, 3 of which were graphic novels, 1 short story collection and 4 novels. The first book I read in August was Trigger Warning by Neil Gaiman. This is a short story collection. Overall I really enjoy it, although I would say that it's fairly mixed for me. Like, some of the short stories felt very weak, whereas others felt like they were amazing and I really loved them. I'm aware that usually short story collections are very mixed and there's usually a lot of short stories that you love and some that you meh. But I've been told that as far as Neil Gaiman himself goes, this is probably his weakest collection. My favorite short stories in this collection were The Thing About Cassandra, Orange, some of the Calendar of Tales, although I don't remember exactly which ones, I will have to read them again. The Man Who Forgot With Bravery, The Click Clack, The Rattleback, An Invocation of Incuriosity, my personal favorite, and Weep Like Alexander, because I love me a grandiose title. Nothing a Club, which is a Doctor Who one, so more than for the story itself, it was because Doctor Who has a special place in my heart. Witchwork and In Really Odd Brain. I also, apart from the Doctor Who one, another one that even though I probably wasn't enough of a good story or I didn't enjoy the story so much as to be one of my favorites, but that holds a special place in my heart, is the Shadow from American Gods short story that is in this collection, which is Black Dog, I think. It's the last one. Yes, Black Dog. So yeah, that's for Trigger Warning, Neil Gaiman. Next I pick The Waves by Virginia Woolf, which I don't have right now with me because I left it at my parents' home. After reading Rayuela by Julio Cortázar in July, I didn't know why I choose to pick yet another 20th century experimental novel. I am a masochist, I love torturing myself, I feel. The thing is, like, I read Mrs. Dalloway some years ago and I really loved it. It was a fantastic read for me. So at that time I bought The Waves and I bought it in Spanish because Mrs. Dalloway I tried to read in English because I had a copy at my home, but it was too much at that time. So I liked it so much that I went out to buy another Virginia Woolf and I bought it in Spanish. I think that probably by now I will be able to read in English and probably I will have enjoyed more. But that's the situation, I read in Spanish. And I couldn't connect with the story. I really appreciated what Virginia Woolf was trying to do. I really appreciated the structure of the novel itself. I thought it was very interesting. I really loved the aspect that you could that you ended up knowing more about character, about what the other characters thought of him, about what he thought of himself. It wasn't for me. I feel like, yeah, I can appreciate it. I give it 3 stars in the end because I really see why people love it so much and I really see how it was revolutionary. It wasn't for me, I think. Also, maybe it's just me, but did anyone else feel like the kids part or the teenage parts were like, it didn't sound like kids or teenagers told? There's something that really aggravates me in books, but maybe it's just a personal pet peeve, I don't know. The Waves, as I've said, it was quite a struggle for me. I didn't connect with the book at all, and even though it's very short, it took me a long time to read. So after The Waves, I decided to go to the library and take a couple graphic novels out to like cheer myself up. So usually when I go to the library, I'm not allowed to choose what I want, like my local librarian picks it for me. So I ended up with this graphic novel called Chica del Montón, which would be like Average Girl, by Laura Mesa Curso. This was a 1 star. Like, it was horrible. I'm gonna insert some pictures. You can see the drawing style is like completely effortless. Like, there's like zero effort and thought put into it. It's just like something you could do with Paint, Microsoft Paint. Like, that part, like, no, for me. And then this is supposed to be like a series of humorous vignettes, but I couldn't see the humor in them. They were just like sometimes observations of daily life, like plain, no humor, no jokes, no wordplay. And when there was kind of like a bit of humor, it was already some very, like, it's been done before so many times that it's not even funny anymore. And also it plays with this, well, I'm not like other girls, although I'm an average girl, but not like other girls, because I love eating and watching Netflix. That I'm very tired of. So to be honest, there's already another Spanish comic author called Moderna de Pueblo, which does this, or what she's trying to do, much better, with a much more interesting drawing style and much more funnier script. So I didn't see why you wouldn't even publish this book, because it was just that bad. I don't think it should have been published. It's a waste of paper. The other graphic novel I took out was this one. It's another Spanish one. It's called Comprobando la Realidad by Mauro Entriaudo, who did the script, and Javier Rodriguez, which did the illustrations. This one was a surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one, and it has rekindled my faith in the Spanish comic. It's a science fiction comic set in a kind of like alternate present, because I don't think it's really the future. It's like kind of like, in some respects, more retro, like the technology looks kind of like 80s kind of stuff, but they have more advanced technology at the same time, so it's kind of weird. But the main plot point is that there's two main video companies run by two twin sisters who are like mad with each other, and the video game technology is so much more advanced than what we have today. So for example, the latest release is a console that allows you to smell. So they already did the touch, they did like 3D, and now you can smell what is happening in the video game. So the plot revolves about one of the companies, video game companies, trying to take it one step further and playing with lucid dreams. And that's very interesting as a premise, at least to me. But the way the plot and the script was made was very good. It was a comic that kept me entertained and engaged with the story from beginning to end. There's a lot of smart wordplay in it. There's tiny little details that at the beginning doesn't make much sense, but then at the end it ties together. It's beautiful. It was a very good graphic novel. I gave it 4 stars, I think, and I would recommend it to anyone who's interested and can get his or her hands on it. It was very good. Afterwards, I decided to pick a couple novels that I had lying around in my house doing nothing. One was Girl Waits with Gun by Amy Stewart. This is an action-packed kind of novel. Like, the important thing is the plot. So the plot summary will be like these 3 sisters that live a very quiet, reclusive life in the countryside in the state of New York suddenly see themselves involved with very bad guys because they had a traffic accident. It takes place in the early 20th century, like I would say 1910s maybe. I get those feelings. I don't know if it's actually explicitly say in the book itself, but this is the first book in a series, and although I ended up enjoying this one, I don't think I will be picking the rest, because as it is, this novel for me, it ends and I don't need to know any more else of what happens afterwards. It just ends. So I would say that this was a fairly entertaining read. It was what I was hoping for after all the heavy reading I had done lately. So yeah, my biggest complaint is that I felt that it dragged quite a bit. The novel is about 400 pages, and I feel like 300 pages would have been enough for the story that I had to tell. So yeah, 3-star read. The other novel that I picked up that was kind of like idle around my house was The Boy on Top of the Mountain by John Boyne. And oh boy, John Boyne and I had a complicated relationship, let's say. I read The Boy with the Striped Pajamas, El Niño con Piernas Rayas. I don't know what the title is exactly in English right now. When I was 12, I think. It was a mandatory read for my high school. So I hated that book. I really did. I remember reading it 12-year-old, like the protagonist is like 8 years old, and I thought he was so naive and stupid. Like, it made me so angry with him that he was just so innocent and naive and stuff. With this novel, I had completely the opposite problem. The kid is like 7 years old at the beginning of the novel, and it feels like he's way too smart and he thinks way too adult-like. And that leaves me with my problem with John Boyne. It's like he doesn't know how to write children. He really doesn't. Like, for me, he always messes up. They are either too stupid or too smart. He doesn't hit the point with what an actual teenager will say or think. That being said, and as I mentioned, I have a complicated relationship with Boyne because I've read another book by him, La Casa del Propósito Especial, which is the one he has around the last Romanov sisters, like Anastasia, Olga, all that stuff, and the revolution. And that book I really enjoyed. I had a great time reading it and I really liked it. So that's why I picked this one up, despite the striped pajamas one. But this book, it just felt so bad. I gave it 2 stars in the end, I think. But it was because it was so short and it was so quick paced that it wasn't really that bad. It was just okay. It lacked so much stuff. It has so much missed potential. It felt so reductionist at some point. Like, Persian was just mediocre. You could have done so much with a plot, and it just didn't do it. It falls short. Then I read another graphic novel called Sostiene Pereira by Pierre-Henri Gourmand. I hope, excuse my French. This graphic novel is the best graphic novel I've read in a while. It was amazing. It's based on a novel called Pereira Maintains, which is by Antonio Tabucci, an Italian author. And it was great. Of course, the script is fantastic, so I really want to read the novel. By the way, after reading the graphic novel, I feel like I will really enjoy the novel that is based on. But apart from having a super good script, the art style was beautiful. I will insert some pictures here. The main plot of the book is Pereira is a journalist that he's the head of the cultural page in a Catholic newspaper during the Salazar dictatorship in Portugal. He leads a very quiet, uneventful life as an obese widower that's obsessed with death. And then he meets this young journalist that's involved with politics, like leftist politics, and his whole life changes. So the main book takes place in Lisboa, and the color palette is just so beautiful. It's amazing. Like, it makes you feel like this feeling of being there, and I love it. Also, and this is very important in graphic novels, it plays super well with the visual elements and it uses them perfectly to tell the story. That's something that I really appreciate. Lastly, the last book I read in August was The Lord of the Flies by William Golding. I've been wanting to read this novel for a long time because pop culture is so impregnated with it that I felt like I was missing something. And I wasn't disappointed when I read it. I don't think I need to summarize the plot. I feel like almost anyone knows, but it's a plane crashes on a desert island and the survivors are this group of British school children, and they try to survive there and things go awfully wrong. This novel deals with the issue of human nature and the nature of civilization and how savage we can become and cruel. And as opposed to John Boyne, which I said earlier doesn't know how to write children, Golding does. Like, the kids felt like kids, even though particularly savage, cruel, vicious kids, they felt like kids, and I really, really enjoyed that after reading that bad book. That was the Boy on Top of the Mountain. What else can I say about this book? I think it's very worth reading. I think that apart from the pop culture drawing a lot of stuff on it, the topics it deals and the way it's portrayed, it will stay with you. Maybe it was just me, but my biggest complaint with the book will actually be that I feel it dragged a little bit in the middle, but I don't know, maybe that was just me, so tell me your opinions about that in the comments down below if you have any. And yeah, I would recommend reading this book. It was pretty good. It wasn't 5 stars for me, but it was a solid 4 star. Yeah, it's just there's so much food for thought, so much stuff that will stay with you after you read it, and so much, like, I think I will be thinking about this book for years, and if that's not a reason to read a book, I don't know what will be. Anyway, that's all the books I had to talk to you about today. I hope you enjoyed this video, I hope you are doing great, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye!